morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Unfiltered Vision News. Today is Tell It All Tuesday. Yes, I was off the air yesterday, but I had some things to take care of outside. I was actually at the state capitol in Atlanta, Georgia, meeting with different politicians and also celebrating the Georgia Black Republican Council and their proclamation that was done by the governor and lieutenant governor of the state. So, yeah, very exciting day. Like I said, I got to meet a lot of people that I didn't know and got to meet some friends along the way that we share political values, right? And meeting some people that I may not always align with. And that was really cool. I got to meet a state representative that I'd seen the week before when I was at the Capitol last Monday. And she was just so warming and welcoming. And, she's like, I'm more of a moderate, than a tried and true Democrat. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it, just her honesty and her welcoming and give me her card. And I'm going to be able to reach out to her and just talk to her about some legislation that she's actually working on to help the Black community. So I'm really excited, and the community at large as well. We don't want to leave anybody out. But yeah, so it was, like I said, it was really an exciting day, and I'm kind of glad to be back with you guys. So thank you so much for joining me. If you're joining me from X or Facebook or YouTube, thank you so much for liking, sharing, reposting, and definitely giving me comments. So with that, let's get into our Kids Corner video for today. Let me get that all queued up. I know just one day gets me a little bit thrown off, but let's get back into it.
Once upon a time, in a small German town, lived Albert Einstein, a quiet boy. He didn't speak until he was 4, preferring to observe. One day, his father showed him a compass. Albert was fascinated that the needle always pointed the same way, sparking his curiosity about invisible forces. At school, Albert wasn't the best student, disliking memorization but loving questions. He wondered about light, time, space, and stars. Growing up, Albert studied physics and mathematics, working tirelessly. His ideas led to the theory of relativity, changing how scientists understood space and time. Despite fame, Albert remained curious, saying, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." The quiet, curious boy with a compass helped us understand the universe. Never stop asking questions. Your curiosity might change the world, just like Albert Einstein's did.
Yes. Never stop asking questions. Even as an adult, I'm still asking questions. I'm still at, why do we do things this way? Why aren't we trying it this way? Right? We should always continue to ask questions and never stop. And with that, let's get into honoring God with our body. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen here. Let me hide that. Get into this. There we go. And God, please protect our mind and guard our thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect my ears and help me listen for your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect our eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. And God, please protect our reproductive organs and help us to honor you with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And we definitely say that every morning here on Unfiltered Vision News. If you're new to joining us, that is our daily mantra. And my pastor did it, he was at a sermon he did last year. And then he put this little card for us together so we could consolidate the sermon and just read it every day as a prayer, and just honoring God with our body, our mind, our thoughts from head to toe. So I'm really grateful for that prayer and sharing it with you guys. So, yeah, I know, y'all. I know. Let's get into it. It's Tell It All Tuesday. Yes. And I pointed out a few things that I definitely want to go over today. Like there's some different things going on in the banking system. We've got, Ring as a Trojan horse. And we definitely have to talk a little bit about what happened at the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny. Now, I don't have any videos necessarily on the Bad Bunny situation, but what I did want to point out, like I did a little bit of research, what I didn't realize is that Rock Nation under, um, how should I say, under Jay Z, and now I knew Jay Z did Rock Nation. What I didn't realize is that um, basically Rock Nation has been the premier entertainment company since 2019 for the NFL. I didn't realize that. I was just like, oh, okay. So so Bad Bunny did headline the Super Bowl 60 halftime show that was on February 8th, this past Sunday, at Levi Stadium. Now, since 2019, the NFL has partnered with Jay-Z's entertainment company, Rock Nation, to produce and strategically oversee the Super Bowl halftime shows starting from Super Bowl 54 onward. What I find very fascinating about this is because, you know, since 2019, and I'm not saying there weren't any slips up. We had the whole Janet Jackson situation where I was like, oh. And then, there were a couple other artists here and there. I was just kind of like, oh, it's okay. Like when J-Lo did her thing, I was just like, I don't need all of this. This is why I don't go to your concerts. You know what I'm saying? Like you're cool, but this is why I don't go to your concerts because I don't. want to watch all that. It's not working for me. But people have always been talking about how demonic things are and how they're always like these satanic worships. And this is not me just saying this stuff. Like, you can just peruse the internet, pick a year after 2020 on any of the Super Bowls, and there are people going, yeah, this was a ritual and there was this. Okay, Rock Nation is coming up with the headliners and doing some of the production. Just saying. Um, so just going along. Now, this aligns with their ongoing role in recent halftime shows. So there was Usher in 24, Kendrick Lamar in 25. Bad Bunny's performance was a historic celebrating Puerto Rican culture, right? Performed largely in Spanish and drawing massive viewership. But Rock Nation handled the production side. So, yeah, it was putting together the show side. It's production. But yeah, I didn't know that Kendrick Lamar was kind of like with Rock Nation. Interesting. Now, before Rock Nation took over the halftime shows, the shows were handled differently over the decades. Let's see, he began overseeing the halftime show starting in 2020, and this came after the partnership in 2019. No, so from around 2007 through 53, 2019, these were handled by the executive producer, Ricky Kirshner, and Kirshner Events. Okay, so like Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, The Who, Madonna, right? So we basically would get snippets, right, of their concerts that they were doing, because a lot of these artists that I'm showing, they were touring, they were doing concerts, so they would just kind of do a consolidated performance of whatever their concert was. But we've kind of, I guess, graduated into these rituals that we see now from what we saw then. Now, the first pop artist to actually perform at the Super Bowl was in the 90s, and that was with Michael Jackson in 1993. Okay. So the change to Rock Nation brought more artist driven curation, with Jay Z having significant input on performers, higher profile cultural moments, and co production with partners like Jesse Collins and diversified production services. Before 2020, it was a more traditional event production focused on spectacle rather than strategic movie industry partnerships. Hmm. Now, I put in there, and I said, so some say that the shows since 2020 have been demonic or some type of satanic ritual. We're like, I'm just going to go in and it's just ask the actual question, like, what are we doing? I said, could there be some influence from Marina Abramovic? Now, if some people have heard of this individual, it's because this is somebody that Jay Z actually knows, as well as Lady Gaga. Yeah. Okay, let's read on. So, the claims you're referring to about Super Bowl halftime show since 2020 being demonic or involving satanic rituals stems largely from online conspiracy theories from far right forums. Some of the people aren't far right. I'm just saying, some are just regular folks in the middle, like, what is going on? And social media discussions. These interpretations often cherry pick visual elements like red lighting, symbolic gestures, or performing art styles and tie them to broader narratives about Hollywood, the music industry, and alleged occult influences. While these shows are high production spectacles designed for entertainment and cultural impact, critics in certain circles, QAnon adherents, or conservative commentators frame them as evidence of hidden agendas. Okay. So since Rock Nation took over in 2020, the shows have featured diverse artists and themes. This is the part, it's the theme part. But some viewers have alleged satanic undertones based on aesthetics and symbolism. Okay, so Super Bowl, let's see, that was 54. That was Jennifer Lopez and Shakira, a Latin inspired performance with pole dancing. Yeah, like I said, that's why I was like, ugh. It to me, it was really gross. Cultural tributes and vibrant energy. Critics called it indecent and akin to a stripper show, right? With some claiming it mocked religious imagery. Lopez on a cross like structure. No overt demonic elements, but it fueled broader talks about Hollywood's moral decay. And that was kind of the spiral, in my opinion. Okay. So Super Bowl 55. The weekend. Anybody remember that? All right. Surreal sets with mirrors, bandages, and maze like stage. Some interpreted the um, distorting visuals as hellish or symbolic of mind control Illuminati themes, right? They had the white mask on. It was creepy, in my opinion. I saw parts of it and I was like, because I really don't watch the halftime show anymore. I just come into my office. I'm like, is there anything I need to do, catch up with for the next day? Like, I'm not even on, if I'm on the internet, I'm probably just watching some videos, just, now because I'm studying to be on here with you guys. Like, what are some current topics and current events that I need to catch up on? Because it's just, I don't want that in my brain. I don't. It's crazy. Now, Super Bowl 51. Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and 50 Cent. A hip hop celebration of West Coast culture, sorry. Minimal controversy, though some tied it to gang or urban darkness in fringe um, discussions. Yeah, because it was like, they were kind of showing the trap house, situation where people had come from and, celebrating gang culture. And it just, I know those individual artists are no longer in that element, but when you put it before people almost as a celebration, not like, hey, look, we've come from here and we've done better. You're you're highlighting and you're celebrating this activity. Okay. Now, Super Bowl 52, Rihanna performed in all red on aerial platforms during her pregnancy reveal. This drew heavy backlash called Devil's Red, compared to satanic worship or pornography in over 100 FCC complaints. Mm. Some linked it to her past association with artists accused of occult ties. Super Bowl 53, Usher, R&B spectacle with roller skating, guest stars, and Vegas flair, relatively tame, but some claimed subtle demonic symbols in the choreography or lighting. Super Bowl, here we go. Super Bowl 59, Kendrick Lamar. I think the main thing I had issues with it, them pants. Men should never wear flared pants. Don't ever do that again, Kendrick. It was gross. It wasn't right. No. So this focused on rap legacy and unity, labeled satanic by critics who called Lamar a mumbling pagan satanic cultist due to dark themes in his music and performance style, references to spiritual struggles. He also threw a few digs in there at Drake, which people knew about being with, allegedly being with underage people. We'll just throw that word in there, allegedly. But yeah, he was poking. He was poking. And like I said, I watched part of it because I was like, okay, hopefully he's not going to have a whole bunch of naked people running around. And I was just kind of like, wow, it was very intense. It was, in my opinion, outside of the other produced Super Bowls that I had seen, because I really tried to stay away from the halftime shows like that. Now, currently, Super Bowl 60, Bad Bunny. celebrated Puerto Rican culture with Spanish lyrics, reggaeton energy, and guest appearances. Early reactions on social media include some calling out occult vibes in the staging or symbolism, but it's too fresh for widespread conspiracy narratives to solidify. It ain't too early. Look, by 11 o'clock at night, everybody had something to say. I'll just say that. So these claims echo historical satanic panic. There's a term for it, you guys. Moral panics from the 1980s, 90s, where media like heavy metal or um, Dungeons and Dragons was accused of promoting evil or was promoting devil worship. Today, they're amplified on platforms like Reddit, TikTok, and X, formerly Twitter, often blending with QAnon or Pizzagate theories. Everybody, look, I didn't tell Grok to be careful, but yeah, that like Pizzagate's in the files. Okay, it's in there, exposed and explained. So it's no longer a conspiracy theory. Just saying. Just saying. About elite pedophile rings and Satanism in power structures. Now, performers like Sam Smith at the 2023 Grammys, not the Super Bowl, or Doja Cat have faced similar accusations for explicit demonic imagery in their work, which fuels a broader narrative. Definitely. Now, Marina Abramovic is a renowned Siberian performance artist. Okay, that's who she is. Why the Satanism accusations? Well, her 1996 piece, Spirit Cooking, involved writing recipes on walls with pig's blood using ingredients like breast milk, semen, and urine in a conceptual artist context, not literal rituals. First of all, that's just gross, in my opinion. That's just disgusting. But everybody keep. But as you see, Grok's like, oh no, this is fine. No, it's not. It's gross. Should be done. Why would you be mixing those elements together? Life with pig's blood? Because breast milk is life. Semen, that's life. With pig's blood? But she's a conceptual artist. Oh, stop that. You're hiding demonic activity and calling it artistry. Let's just be real. Let's keep it honest, right? Abramovic invited him to a spirit cooking dinner. This is John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. A normal meal with artistic flair. Podesta didn't attend, right? White wing outlets spun this as evidence of elite satanic cults, tying it to Pizzagate and QAnon. She's also been linked to cannibalistic themes in events where guests eat human shaped cakes, which theorists interpret literally. Why would you make a cake shaped like a naked human so people can eat it? That's disgusting. Like, that's some nasty, something's going on with you up here. Or it's a part of who you are. It is a part of your ritualistic lifestyle. And you're just trying to mainstream it. And that's, you know, why I wanted to go over Bad Bunny in this way to just show the connections. Now let's read on. Now, the connections to Hollywood and music, Abramovic has friends with celebrities like Lady Gaga, who was in this recent performance with Bad Bunny, right? Who credits her for inspiration and performed at the 2017 Super Bowl. So, who is Lady Gaga crediting her inspiration from? This woman who did this, spirit cooking. That's who you're drawing inspiration from? Okay. Now, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and others, okay, have been photographed with her and referenced her work. She's collaborated on projects like a 2013 video with Jay-Z and a 2020 Microsoft app pulled due to backlash accusing her of Satanism. Why are you accusing her? That's not an accusation, that's facts. Conspiracy sites claim she influences events like dictating the look and feel of certain performances, but this is speculative. Okay, there's no documented evidence of Abramovich directly influencing or producing any Super Bowl halftime show. The theories hinge on her association, Rock Nation's involvement since 2020, and performers like Rihanna and Kendrick Lamar having tangle, um, having tangential ties. For instance, some tie her to occult Hollywood narratives, suggesting her style inspires ritualistic staging. However, this is unsubstantiated. Shows are produced by teams like Jesse Collins Entertainment and DPS, where creative input from the artists themselves. Abramovic, if any, is more cultural, right, than literal satanic direction. But here's my thing: the performance is the performance, where, and you can tell where the inspiration comes from in the performance because you can see it for yourself. Just saying. So, in summary, these claims are part of a long tradition of moral panics and conspiracy thinking, often without concrete proof. Abramovich's provocative art makes her a frequent target, but any influence on the halftime shows appears to be indirect at best, based on social connections rather than active involvement. And yeah, it is what it is, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's it's not even her involvement. It's the connections and the influence. Like if you have been introduced to spirit cooking and a lot of the other things that this person is involved in, why did they pull the Microsoft commercial? Why was there something wrong? I'm not going to play it on my show. Y'all can look it up. What was wrong with it? Why did you have to pull it? If there's nothing bad, it's because there was. And the public was completely outraged and incensed and was like, not here, not today, not ever. You, if you don't take that down, enough. And it was taken down. So these are the people that, this is the, I should say, this is the individual that Jay-Z has decided to connect himself to. He's in the video with her. He's the one that's been bringing her around. Lady Gaga said that she influenced her. And Lady Gaga somehow ended up in this performance. Yeah, I can't show the lyrics to you guys from Bad Bunny because I was like, whoa, oh my goodness. Um, but just so you know, the song that he did called, I want to say it was called Savage. Yeah, Safari. Okay, Safaria. I'm probably mispronouncing it because obviously it's in Latin, but it translates to wild, chaotic fun or savagery, like an out of control party. Now, that was one of the songs that he did from his album. Right now, his stuff is very explicit, extremely explicit, like, but it doesn't sound that way because he's saying it in another language. And these are the things that we have to be careful about. It's like, okay, be careful what you expose yourself to, right? And also, when you're listening to something in another language, if you don't understand what it translates to, Stay away from. Look, there's some Christian songs that I'll start listening to. I'm like, is this Christian song? Am I listening to the Christian radio? Like, seriously, there are times I have to do a double take because it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like you are actually trying to invoke the spirit of God in the song and share it with others. It just sounds like it's the world. It sounds worldly. It does not sound convicting to the heart to impress anyone to follow God. But Satan has his hands in everything. And that's why I'm saying I always try to be very careful about what I'm listening to, especially when it comes to music, because there's so many things that are hidden, right? Hidden imagery, hidden messages, just hidden within. But like I said, that savagery song, and trust me, like I can't even show it. That's how, yeah, that's how explicit the lyrics are. Like it was one of those things I thought, what's his name? Luke, look, he makes Luke look like a preschool child. And y'all know Luke is wild. Okay. They like to call him Uncle Luke on Twitter. or on X, formerly known as Twitter, right? He makes him literally look like he ain't doing nothing. That's how explicit some of these lyrics are. I would implore parents, be careful what you allow your kids to listen to, especially if it's in another language that you don't understand or your child doesn't understand, running around repeating stuff that they shouldn't be. Now, look, there was a song that Prince did. I don't know if anybody remembers Roddick City. Okay, maybe y'all might. I'm a little kid, maybe 9, 10, 11, just singing, the whole song, not the radio edit, because the radio station didn't realize he was actually saying a curse word, because the way he sung it and the way he kind of just slid it and slipped it on in there, everybody, look, after that I was like, okay, I really need to pay attention. And I was a kid. I was like, I need to pay attention to what I'm listening to, what I'm hearing, what I repeat. And this is sad because, like I said, this is something that parents need to know and be on top of. And I'm not picking on Bad Bunny. I'm just saying for anything, even music that's in English, listen to the lyrics. What are you saying? What are you invoking with this music? Because it has power. Whether you think it does or not, it does. So the song is called Safaria, Safaera. Now, this is, like I said, you can look up the lyrics for yourself. You can use Chat GPT or whatever and ask it to translate the song into English. I was reading, I was like, wow. And again, I know that he didn't do the whole song on the show during the Super Bowl. He only did parts of it because they have to get in so many songs. It's almost like a mashup, right? One song goes to another, and it's just kind of like a playlist that goes along in this theme to basically create a show or a narrative, whatever they're trying to communicate with the audience, right? But yeah, that was that song. And I'm sure some of the other songs might be illicit as well, because that one is. But that's who this artist is. So again, parents, be careful what you let your kids listen to, what you're listening to, right? As well, because you don't want to, conjure up literal demons. Seriously, it's not a good thing. Now let's get into a little bit more news, and thank you for going with me on that diatribe, but I just had to share that with you guys. So now let's get into Tell It All Tuesday, you guys. My goodness. So I'm not sure what's going on with individuals from Somalia, but their attitude is that Minnesota is a part of Somalia now. Did you know this? Because I didn't know this. Because I always thought, the United States is America. This is our home. How are you just gonna come over here and claim a state as a part of a whole different country? But look, that's what we're doing. But that is what they are doing.
Welcome to Galmudug, state of Somalia.
This guy seems to believe that the Somalian government claimed some land in Minnesota and it's theirs to govern now. This meeting's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Safari restaurant, which is associated with the Feeding Our Future scam.
The restaurant claimed to serve more than 3.9 million meals to children in a 19-month span, even using Congresswoman Ilhan Omar in a promotional video in an alleged attempt to show legitimacy.
Farhia Khalif Mahmoud. Farhia is my leader. We'll lead this country together. When I say now, she became state representative Galmudug.
I want you to understand what this guy's saying. He's saying that Farhia Khalif is his leader. He is a member of the Galmudug state, not a U.S. citizen. He's a Galmudug state citizen in Minneapolis. Farhia Khalif is his government leader. This is the definition of an insurrection. She was appointed as the governor of the Galmudug state of North America, and this is the celebration that they had, and everybody was like, yeah, Somalia.
Welcome to Galmudug, state of Somalia. We all together on this one. We've been living here for long. We're gonna lead this country together. When I say together, means me and you and us, inshallah. So Farhia Khalif Mahmoud is one of the leaders in this state, all the way Virginia Beach, individually, solo, and now she became state representative Galmudug for USA. She is my leader. When I say that, I know who she is. I know where she started from. I know where she's going with this.
Okay. Now, everybody's like, don't jump on every Somalian. Look, it's time to mass deport all of these individuals that are going along with this. First and foremost, like there's 200,000 of y'all. We deported like 1.2 million last year. Y'all can go. Y'all can be swept up in them. Everybody's got to go. You have to leave here. All of you. You're not aligning with America. You really just sat there and said that this is what? Look, I need the FBI on this. I need our DOJ on this. I know y'all are busy. I know there's a lot going on, but you have a lot of bodies, so I need you on this. I need Customs and Border Enforcement on this. I need ICE on it. I need this done. I need every single one of their naturalization citizenship documents revoked. Now, passports done. Like, you can't come here. You can't align with us. Like, we can't partner with you. Like, we can't be friends. Okay? Which means we can't even do business together. Like, you need to find another country to do business with, because you can't do business with us anymore. Like, I need it all shut down. Every single bit of it. Send them all back to Somalia, because that's where they want to be. That's what they want. But you're not going to do Somalia over here, because your country's destroyed for a reason. Probably because of nonsense like this. You need to go home and you need to figure it out. But you can't do that here. So I'm really hoping that this gets looked into like now, because that's what we need to do. Now, the next bit of information we need to get into is these illegals in 19 states that have been allowed driver's licenses. Now, we know, I know most people know that unfortunately there have been states giving people that are not here legally IDs, right? In some instances, we found out about the CDLs. Now we're on to the driver's licenses. And I think a lot of people were always like, hey, I think they're getting driver's licenses to people. And they would say, oh, yeah, they're in certain places. But 19 states are now doing this. And I wanted you to hear these I think they're in Irvine, California, and that I've lived there, and they're talking about how it's done, right? Like they looked at it and they're like, this is how it's happening. So let's check this out.
You go to the DMV and you get a driver's license or an ID, you register to vote, you do not need any citizenship to do that. When you get any benefits in the state of California, they send you a voter registration card. You do not need to show any ID or proof of citizenship to do that. Then you're on the voter rolls. Those voter rolls, they keep adding people on over and over and over again, and nobody's cross-referencing IDs on those voter rolls. So when you talk to Bob Page on a local level or any local registrar of voters, they're gonna say, well, yeah, we've got a really great operation on site. We're just taking what Sacramento gives us in regards to the rules. We can't ask for ID on site, or we can't cross-reference ID. So the problem isn't ours anymore, right? It's that diffusion of responsibility. So the reality is Sacramento's got the problem in their hands, and they're avoiding it by pushing it around. So that's the manner in which we need to talk about this subject. It is 100% fact that you do not need to prove any citizenship to get voter registration in California.
To become a voter in California, all you have to do is check a box and say that, yeah, I'm legal. And they don't check, they don't ask, they absolutely nothing. And there is zero flags. The only reason the dog got caught in Orange County was because it voted in a federal election that does have the flags. So God knows our rolls in California are screwed, and we got to get them straightened up.
And another success is that last year we put it on the ballot and you guys voted for it. We're the only city in California that requires voter ID because of you guys.
Yeah. And that's Irvine, California. Now that is in Orange County. Now Orange County is, I'm not sure if it's red anymore, but when I lived there, it was red. Republican, heavy Republican, very upstanding, in my opinion, making sure that people are taken care of. And the one good thing about Irvine, because it is owned by a family, their politics are a little bit different in the sense that when they find something wrong, they shut it down. Like that gentleman said, like, we have voter ID in Irvine, period. But there were some people in Orange County, I want to say a couple of years back when they did that whole special election with Gavin Newsom, they were trying to get him dethroned basically as the governor. How did that man get the same number of votes 2 years after he had been elected? Like, not like, oh, he got a similar, no, the exact same number of votes. People pass away, people move. How in the world did you get the same number of votes 2 years later? Yeah. None of that sounds right. It's mathematically impossible. But that's what's happening in California. People showing up to vote and being told that they've already voted. Huh? What do you mean I already voted? Oh, yeah, you cast your vote yesterday. What? I'm just now showing up to vote. Who cast my ballot for me? I'm the person that is supposed to be voting. Somebody else voted in my place. No investigations. Nothing. You haven't even heard about it anymore. That happened 3 years ago. I think y'all done raided Fulton County. You need to check out Orange County, California. As a matter of fact, you need to check out the state of California and investigate everything regarding their voter rolls. Okay, because I'm sure you're gonna find some great stuff, find some good stuff, and things I learned yesterday. I got to meet Mrs. King, and she is on our. I want to say she's this on the state board of elections. She's one of the commissioners on that. Super cool. I'm hoping to have her on the show. I was asking her about the whole $10,000 a day thing, right? Like, what's up with Fulton County? Apparently, yes, they were fined $10,000, but it was only for one day. The judge turned around and dropped the order. So it was almost made to look like there was some outrage and a penalty. It's only for one day. Because remember, I've been like, $10,000 a day every day. Oh my gosh. No. So there's no consequences. And they are still refusing to put two Republicans on the board of elections for Fulton County. And you wonder why people are looking at y'all sideways. I think it's interesting. It's really crazy. Now, I wanted to get into something because what I found this video yesterday, and what I ended up posting is I said, well, at least they are all in a database. And I'm referring to the people who check the box that are here illegally. And if they have lied about their citizenship status, this should be investigated by immigration. Yeah. This will deport a lot of individuals. And then I tagged, DOJ and ICE and Tom Homan. And then somebody else replied and says, this reply advocates the great idea of using DMV databases in states like California to verify citizenship claims made during voter registration, tagging federal agencies for potential immigration enforcement and deportations of non-citizens who falsely attested eligibility. Because remember, it's an honor system. Because they're not. So when you check that box, right, and you go up there to apply for your driver's license, they're not running you through immigration. They're not running any of these people through an immigration database to verify if they're citizens or not. It's an honor system. So all I'm saying is get the DMV rolls. Get them. And then find out who's actually a citizen and who's not. And for the people that lied and said that they were, that's automatic deportation because you're lying about a federal status now, not a state status. States can't circumvent federal law, even though they have. But these sanctuary cities are crazy. But they cannot give people citizenship just because you might have a temporary protected status or a green card or a visa. You're not a naturalized citizen. Therefore, you're lying and you're committing fraud. Pull every single driver's license database around the country. And if they are not showing up matching as a naturalized citizen in our immigration system, they got to go. And guess what? You have a whole address on them where they work, everything. Get them. I'm just saying. I'm giving that to y'all for free. Go get it. Let's do this. Okay? Because enough with the nonsense. Enough with the nonsense. All right. Now, this one was interesting. Okay. Somebody had brought up and talked about the Ring app. Now, some people have it at their door so they can kind of see who's at their door or not. Well, now Ring has a new feature, okay, on their app, on the app. So let's say if lots of people lose their dogs. There is now an app that you can use to, use the Ring camera to kind of like do a broad sweep of an area, have it on visual, right? So you can locate your dog. The scary part is You don't need a Ring camera to access this. The scarier part is when you do it, it activates all the Ring cameras. So now we're running our own surveillance, because now let's just say people are looking for somebody in the area. You could literally use this app to activate any Ring cameras in that area to locate the person, a car, whatever you're trying to do. But like I said, you don't necessarily have to have the Ring camera itself. You don't have to. So I don't have one, for example. I don't have one, but let's just say my neighbor across the street does. Let's just say my dog gets out. I don't have a dog, but for example, my dog gets out. I can activate their camera to search for my dog. I don't even need that person's permission to activate their camera. What if their camera is in their backyard as well? What if that camera is maybe somewhere in... Do you see where I'm going with this? I can access anybody's camera, and I don't even have one of these cameras, but I could activate it. So again, let me just play this video for you, because when I was like, what? Yeah, there's this.
If you thought the slow boil of surveillance was bad before, just wait until you see how much they turned up the heat during the biggest TV event of the year. Yesterday, during the Super Bowl, while millions of people were glued to their screens, Ring, which is Amazon's surveillance beast, dropped their new AI-featured ad called Search Party. You post a cute photo of your recently lost dog in the app, and all of a sudden, every Ring camera in the neighborhood lights up. They start scanning and searching for your pet while feeding the data back to Amazon's hive mind. They claim it's to find pets, and they brag that more than a dog a day has been found since this has been launched. Adorable, right? Think again. This is the most insidious piece of surveillance propaganda they've ever shoved down our throats. It's straight up dystopian nightmare fuel. And they're not hiding it anymore, guys. They're flaunting it during the Super Bowl.
This is Milo. Pets are family. But every year, 10 million go missing. And the way we look for them hasn't changed in years. Until now. One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find
one post. But they're saying this is just for dogs? I don't think so.
lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family. Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone for free right now. Join the neighborhood at ring.com.
Folks, this isn't about Fido. This is propaganda for mass surveillance, pure and simple. They're normalizing a nationwide network of private cameras. Your doorbell, your neighbors, everyone's, all feeding into Amazon's AI beast. One click, and suddenly your street is turned into a Big Brother surveillance control grid. They're using your love for your dog to trick you into handing over the keys to your neighborhood's eyes. And this search party isn't going to stop at dogs. It's training the AI on us. Every scan catalogs your face, your habits, and your location. And this is how they normalize it. It starts with lost pets. Everyone loves that. Then missing kids. Then suspects. Then whatever they decide is a threat. And just when you thought that wasn't bad enough, check this out. A recent Columbia survey shows support for surveillance expansion. A fresh survey out of Columbia, Missouri shows that 66% of locals support integrating private cameras like these into public safety efforts. And 63% support police drones buzzing overhead. They're selling it as a crime-fighting solution with more eyes in the sky, more data being shared, and more control. This is your classic problem, reaction, solution scenario. Create fear around crime and homelessness or your lost precious puppy. Roll out the cameras under the guise of community help, and then watch the public cheer for their own change. 1984 wasn't fiction, guys. It was a warning. And now, they're normalizing the very surveillance state that Orwell feared. One lost pet ad and one friendly poll at a time. They're softening us up, guys. It starts with puppies and it ends with total control. So the big question now is, since this has already been launched, what do we do about it? Well, I want to talk about exactly that, but just before we do, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Enhanced, which is APAD.
Yeah, so I'll pause it there, but I'll definitely link it for the repost so you guys can watch the entire video. But yeah, when it comes down to it, it starts small. And then it continues to grow. And then it'll be like, oh, we just have the cameras on all the time. Because don't you feel safer with them on all the time? Our phones are already on all the time, listening to us all the time. And now they're conditioning us, I should say, to have the cameras on all the time. Because then it'll be like, hey, if there's an anomaly, if there's somebody in your area that needs to be. Anybody watch the movie The Running Man? See, initially you're thinking, okay, it's good to have the surveillance. Okay, until they can alter the feed and what they show people, even if it's not true. Yeah. You guys should watch the new Running Man. It was very interesting watching the new one because I was like, yeah, you're putting out propaganda to make people think and feel and react a certain way, even if something's not even happening or true. And that's happening right now. But imagine having footage. Oh, we've got footage now, and we can digitize somebody in, or we can completely erase that person out and say that person was never even there when they were. It's that stuff. Yeah, you have to kind of take it to that next level of how sick these people are. Because that is how sick and depraved they are. Sad as it sounds. Now, the next thing I wanted to get into, I'm going to skip over one section because I wanted to get to this. But apparently, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but apparently Trump has started Trump RX, y'all. It is trumprx.gov. I heard about it. I was like, oh, okay. Find the world's lowest prices on prescription drugs. Yeah. So it's here. It says America was being overcharged for medicine. The same drugs made in the same factories at the same dosages are costing Americans up to 1,000% more than any other country. This is unacceptable, right? So let's look at some of these comparisons. So you've got Gonal F. I'm not sure what that is. It's a pen. I don't know. It might be an EpiPen. Apparently, there were close to $1,449, almost $1,500 in the U.S., only $355 in Canada. Why? Same pen, same manufacturer. Oh, we all got money, so y'all can spend it. Interesting. So thanks to President Trump, the days of big pharma price gouging are over. Leveraging the full weight and power of the United States of America, the president has assured every American gets the lowest prices on prescription medications in the developed world, introducing most favored nation pricing, guaranteeing huge savings for Americans. So now that pen is going to be $252. So it's not going to be the $355 that Canadians are paying. It's actually going to be 93% less. Okay. And this is most impactful prescription price reset in the history of our country. It puts more money in Americans' pockets and finally brings care back within reach. So I'm just going to show you some of the pricing changes. So the Wegovy pill, I don't know. I've seen, it's not Ozempic, it's another one of them, but they were advertising on TV the other day. So the Wegovy pill, it was $1,349 a month for that prescription. Let's just say it's a 30-day prescription. It is now $149 a month. The pen was $1,349. It's now $199 a month. Ozempic, which was over $1,000 a month, it's now $199. Zepbound was over $1,000. It's now $299. Maybe it's better than Ozempic. I'm not sure. Yeah. So, oops. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see this part. It says what it is, which drugs are listed on the website. Do I need to create an account? This is what some people. No, there is no need to create an account or register to access Trump RX discounted pricing. You should speak with your doctor to see if a drug is right for you and then receive a valid prescription for a pharmacy to dispense the drug to you. So whoever's got prescriptions out there, I would implore you, check to see if the prescription, the pricing, check it here first. So when you do go to the pharmacy and they might try to charge you a crazy price, you'd be like, look, just pull up your phone. Like, what are you doing? Because this is the price now. It's not that. This is the price. So what are you doing? Because there might be some controversy out there, of course. Because Orange Man bad. I'm just saying. That's how people, that's their mentality. That's not, look, that is not me. Like I've told everybody, I do not support Donald Trump. I support the seat of the presidency. I like the policies that are coming out. And this is one thing that he promised he was going to do for the American people. So again, the website is trumprx.gov. The next website that I wanted to bring up was this one. Somebody had shared this with me last week, and I wanted to make sure I brought it up. So apparently Homeland Security now has a website, which is WOW, right? Which stands for worst of the worst. Okay. DHS.gov/WOW. Arrested, worst of the worst. And it lists some of the worst of the worst, right? We've got someone who was here, Minneapolis, Minnesota, that is of Somali descent, convicted of criminal sex conduct, 4th degree of a victim, 13 to 15 years old. Yeah, you need to go home. Okay. Someone from Laos, which would be Laos, China, convicted of assault, aggravated assault, non-family weapon, aggravated assault weapon, threat, terroristic state offenses. And this is somebody else from Minnesota. Minnesota, you guys have a problem. I'm just saying. Someone from El Salvador, convicted of sex assault from Moose Lake, Minnesota. They just hide now. Look. The whole first page, like I'm looking for another state. You guys. I'm hoping for another state to come up. Okay, this individual from Mexico, convicted of assault and homicide. All right. Gang affiliation. Sir 13. He's in Lino Lakes, Minnesota. Someone else from Laos, China. Aggravated assault with a gun. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Someone else from Laos, China. Homicide, stolen property, stolen vehicle, assault, homicide, willful kill, non-family weapon. Oriental Boys, that's his gang affiliation. Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'm glad that they're getting them. I think what's concerning is a lot of these people are from Minnesota. So, well, you claim to be a sanctuary state. You're taking these people in and you're fighting for them to stay there. I need people to put that in context. There are people on the ground saying, We don't want ICE here. These people are our neighbors, and we need you to go, ICE. Stop disappearing people. I need everybody to let that set in. I need you to let that set in. I'm sorry, Democratic Party. You don't get to come back to anybody. Anyone. And say, we need to get rid of ICE and we need to defund them. Why? So we can keep people like this here? What is wrong with you? All these people need to go yesterday. So again, that's dhs.gov, WOW, which stands for worst of the worst. Now, here's the thing. Once these individuals are removed, the next layer of individuals will obviously be people that are here illegally. Let's just use the driver's license individuals, for example, right? These people lied and said that they were U.S. citizens, and they're not. But they have a driver's license, and they do have the ability to vote in local elections. That's what they're able to do. As the video, the gentleman said, yeah, they got popped trying to vote in a federal election because they're not citizens. And that's where it's checked. Sometimes. And it was really only checked in Irvine. But what about the rest of the state of California? What about the rest of the country? Because Tim Walz, he just decided to give everybody driver's licenses in his state. Made a whole proclamation. Yes, whether you're legal or illegal, you can get a driver's license. Great. You put them all in the database. Thank you for saving everybody time. Now immigration can look them up directly because now they're in a database, and you cannot stop the federal government from getting that information. Sorry. You can't. You can't. You can try, but you can't. So, certain things, I'm just saying, I like it. I like it a lot. Now I also, let me keep that to the end. Okay. I'm going to keep some stuff towards the end. I wanted to circle back to the Ring camera for a moment because I definitely wanted to look up the terms and conditions to see how they're able to get around this, because there are some privacy agreements that do come along with all of the technology that we use. And like I said, sometimes we're signing away our Fourth Amendment rights to use these different pieces of technology. So let's see. Now, key sections and provisions, agreement, and parties. This is a binding contract between you and Ring LLC affiliates, right? By using Ring products, okay, and that's if I decide to buy it, you agree to these terms for yourself, household members, and anyone using your account devices. So this is anyone, right? If buying through Amazon.com, blah, blah, blah. Eligibility, you must be at least 13 years old to have a Ring. Okay. At least 13. Age 13 to 18 require parental guardian consent who agrees to the terms, restricted if under U.S. sanctions or export laws. Okay, use of Ring offerings covers storage, viewing, and management of your captured content. You must comply with laws, obtain consent for recording where required, avoid illegal surveillance, right? Products need reliable Wi-Fi, on and on. Subscriptions, ownership license, your content sharing. When you share content via Ring neighbors or links, you grant Ring a broad, perpetual, royalty-free license to use, modify, distribute, and sublicense it worldwide. Content must not be illegal, harmful, or violate guidelines. And so they have these neighbors community guidelines. You warrant, that's weird. You warrant, you have rights to it. That's weird. It seems like it should be your warrant, you have rights to it. Or, yeah, that just doesn't sound right. I was like, that doesn't sound like speaking proper English. But, there's typos in these things a lot. Just saying. Privacy. See Ring's separate privacy notice. So this is separate, right? Because I just asked for some of the terms and conditions as of November 3rd, 2025 for details on data collection, account info, videos, location, data, device data, use, sharing with affiliates, providers, law enforcement as required, and your rights. Okay, limits liability, distribution, blah. So I say, can you outline the search party feature in Ring that users can sign up for? Okay, because you've already heard you don't have to have Ring to do it. You can just, use the app. So Ring Search Party is an AI-powered community feature in the Ring app integrated with Neighbors by Ring. That helps reunite lost dogs with their owners by using footage from nearby outdoor Ring cameras. It was expanded in early 2026, the Super Bowl ad, and is now available nationwide in the US to anyone, even if you don't own Ring devices. No subscription required to start one. Just do it. Now, the purpose is for finding missing dogs and pets, right? The camera scan recent saved footage for potential matches to a reported dog. The AI's role, when activated, participating outdoor Ring cameras automatically use AI to analyze footage for dogs that match the description photo provided. Community aspect, it turns the neighborhood into a network of extra eyes. If a match detected, the camera owner gets an alert and can share the clip. It's free to use, expanded in February 2026, so non-Ring users can initiate searches via the app. What happens when it's everything and everybody everywhere all the time? Because right now, again, our phones, if they are on, and sometimes even when they're off, this is why people have Faraday bags for their phones. They're listening to you. They're always on. It's crazy. Now, opt in, opt out for camera owners. Now, the feature is enabled by default for outdoor Ring cameras users. For Ring cameras, users can disable it. Only cameras with saved video history, typically requiring a Ring Protect subscription, can participate fully. Yeah, so people that have the Ring cameras, they can opt out. But are they aware they're even opted in automatically? That's the other thing. Temporary nature. Search parties are short term, auto end after a few hours unless extended or confirmed. Look, we'll find out years later. Oh, it's always been on. What? Yeah. It sounds good. This is about to be a hot mess. Okay? It's about to be on. Let the lawsuits begin. But will they? I don't know. This is how you can sign up. And I'll make sure to put my research link in there. So it's tied to neighborhood community. Privacy concerns have been raised, right? Default on scanning of neighborhood footage, but Ring states it's limited to animal detection, temporary, and users control participation. Guess what? It's still scanning everything in the neighborhood, even if you're not a dog. It's just trying to look for the dog to alert you. That doesn't mean it's not scanning everything else. Do you think we're stupid? Yeah, I think you think we're stupid. We're not dumb. Yeah. And they are wild with the things that they come up with. I mean, it's severe. It really, really is very, very crazy. I might do that one tomorrow. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, y'all. Before we go any further, there was something I did want to play for everybody. Apparently, there was a prayer breakfast last week, and somebody that I saw yesterday at the Capitol said, "Did you hear what was announced?" I said, "No." And but I wanted to share this with you guys. This is what President Trump announced at the prayer breakfast last week.
What's it like to be a Christian in an
Nope, wrong video. That was not the video. I was like, hey, where's my video? Sorry, you guys. I clicked on the wrong one. Oh, because it looked like the one I needed. Where's the one I want? Oh, no. It's not in here. I'm sorry. Look, I apologize. I did not download it. So I will take a break and download that really quick so that I can share that with you guys, because I think it's definitely important. So again, thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, and we will see you guys on the other side.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Taking your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Thank you guys so much for dealing with me by my little technical difficulties. I just forgot to download the video. My goodness. But let's get to some of the comments. Let me take a little bit of break. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here this morning. We've got Patty Cakes, Miss Eddings. Thank you, Miss Eddings, y'all. And Spud McKenzie says, good morning and amen. Thank you for joining us from YouTube. And Harriet, thank you so much for reposting the stream on X. And Will Jones says, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for that. And Sweet Sister has joined us on X and she's reposted. And Will Jones says, nope, they all are in there because they deleted the images of many. Oh, yeah, there's that. Sassy Lady, thank you so much for joining us and reposting the stream. And Young Republicans, thank you so much for joining us here. He says, pets are code for people. Look, it's one of those things, they just want to use the pets first to perfect it. That's my opinion. It's like, let's just run this as a test subject, right? Because once we have all of this perfected, there we go. I mean, we've already been told we've been under surveillance for decades, for years. And let's see, Young Republicans also says, people can rob your house or worse. Yeah, they can. But the worst part is the invasion of privacy, the assumption of guilt, and how they've completely eroded the Fourth Amendment. I mean, this is Fourth Amendment stuff. This is like complete violation of privacy. Because, like I said, they use the example. If my neighbor has a camera across the street, I don't have one. That camera can bleed out to areas. My house is across the street. So I'm a part of it, even if I'm not signing up for it. So where's the lawsuit for that? It's coming. I don't really think they thought about the people who didn't want that. Right? Because even if I opt out, I'm still on camera. But how do I opt out? Because I don't own one of these cameras. So I'm just subjected to my Fourth Amendment being completely violated. Now, you might say, how is that? Because the Fourth Amendment gives people the right, proper search and seizure, an assumption of guilt before they can actually say, show me what you have, or let me come inside, or this is why we have warrants, because police can't just walk into your house. They need a warrant. They need probable cause. They need a reason to come and see what's going on with you. With these cameras, they're going to see everything that's going on with you, even if you haven't participated in it. That's what I'm saying. It comes back to that part. I haven't even signed up for this. Like, why are you putting this in my neighborhood? So I'm hoping maybe that lawsuit's going to come out. That'll be a nice, big, juicy class action lawsuit that we can bring about, right? Fight for our privacy, fight for our rights. But this is a video. I thank you guys for dealing with me. I wanted to show you and play.
This morning, I'm pleased to announce that on May 17th, 2026, that we're inviting Americans from all across the country to come together on our national mall to pray, to give thanks, and we are going to do something that everyone said, like, that's tough. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God.
Yeah. So they're going to have a rededication ceremony on the National Mall, as he said, May 17th, 2026. So I'm sure there's going to be more posts and more information on that going forward, as we get closer to May. But interesting, right? I'm not sure if I remember a president, actually coming forward with their faith and saying, we're going to rededicate this country to God. Because we're a nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I mean, it's what it is, right? Yeah. So with that, I wanted to follow up with my little commercial because, I need y'all to buy stuff. As they say, need you to buy some things, be interested in some things so I can keep the lights on up in here. So what you saw that commercial, lifewave.com. These are for the X39 patches. This is just one of the products under LifeWave. So if you go to lifewave.com/Noni CMS LLC, it's a product that I've actually used. It's helped me, help my back to regenerate your stem cells from within. A lot of people talk about, the stem cells, and, for a while they were using stem cells from aborted fetuses, which was very highly unethical. And then they were starting to take them from people's bone marrow, which could be very painful. But now there is actually a product that helps to capture, right, almost like the sun going on in your body and helping to regenerate your stem cells so that you get what you need, right? There's different products, like I said, like the Cellulargize. A lot of people talk about collagen and different things like that. So definitely check out the website. It's lifewave.com/Noni LLC. Another way to support the program is to go to Unfiltered Vision News unfilteredvisionnews.com. That's unfilteredvisionnews.com. And this is where you will get the long form videos, because I do not keep them up on social media. I do take them down after a few hours. And so if you would like to access the long form content, which means the full show, definitely check out unfilteredvisionnews.com. You can also help support the show by getting some merch. Here's the album that I produced and released last year, called, the group is Divine Echo Collective. And the title of the album is Heaven Touch Earth. So you can definitely help in that way. And here's some of the merch. You can get a hat, sweatshirts, a cup, shoes, something for your kids, a notebook. This is our faith line. So again, every little bit helps to keep the lights on, and that will be at unfilteredvisionnews.com. So thank you for letting me plug, because sometimes I forget and I got to plug for myself, because I don't want to sell supplements. I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to do that part, but I definitely want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, right? And so what we're going to get into next, there were some videos I came across. The one I actually started playing, talking about the Muslim faith. I should have said Islamic faith, because Muslims are the people that practice Islam. Let me say that right. And there has been a lot of controversy around like Epic City and what's going on. And my question still comes back to, why are they over here when there's several Muslim countries that align with what they're practicing? Why aren't you over there? You know what I'm saying? That would make sense. I would think Christians would want to go to a Christian country, and that people that are of Islamic faith, they want to go to a Muslim country, because that, like I said, that just makes sense to me. But let's just check out this. Let me see what we're going to start with. And her name is Brigitte Gabrielle. I actually saw her on InfoWars, and she was really talking about how, and I guess in my opinion, there's a difference between those that practice Islam, and then there are those that practice Islam under Sharia law. There's two different, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but let's just hear about what she's talking about and how Islamists overran her country of Lebanon with that practice.
I come from a country, Lebanon used to be the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. Most people don't know that. When they think of the Middle East, they think it's all Islamic countries. Mm-hmm. But Lebanon is the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. We were open-minded, we were fair. We prided ourselves on our multiculturalism. We welcomed everyone to our country, especially from the surrounding Arabic countries, because we wanted to share with them the westernization which we had created in the heart of the Middle East. Muslims used to send their children to come study in our universities because we had built the best universities in the Middle East. They graduated and worked in our economy because we had built the best economy in the Middle East, even though we did not have any oil. Mm-hmm. Lebanon was known as Paris of the Middle East, the banking capital of the Middle East. And as Christians, we focused on education. Education was very important to us. You know, we educated girls and boys, you know, no difference. We were living the good time. Unfortunately, all that began to change by the 70s because of two things. The enlargement of the Islamic population in Lebanon, because we Christians marry one spouse until death do us part. We don't have many kids. Muslims, on the other hand, are allowed to marry up to 4 wives at a time. Now, of course, not all of them do it, but enough of them do it that in our country, in Lebanon, by the 70s, the Muslims became the majority. Mm-hmm. And once they became the majority, they started massacring the Christians and killing the Christians. I remember in 1974, we stopped traveling. We used to go spend Christmas and Easter in Beirut with the rest of my family. And we stopped traveling, and I would ask my father, why aren't we going to Beirut for Christmas this year? And my daddy would say to me, well, we just decided to stay home this year. And I couldn't understand why. And later I learned is because Muslims started setting up fly-by-night checkpoints, and they would stop Christian cars traveling. And when they would get people out of the car and look at their ID and find out that this is a Christian family traveling, because in Lebanon, our religion is written on our national ID, on your driver's license, on your passport. So when they see that this is a Christian family traveling, they would get everyone out of the car and shoot them in cold blood. So we became prisoners to our homes and our cities and our communities. And that's the reason why we stopped going anywhere. By 1975, that's when the war broke out, the civil war. And the war broke out because Muslims walked into a church on a Sunday morning and began shooting at Christian worshipers, and injured hundreds and killed 4 people. And that's what started out the all-out war. And it was a very difficult time for the Christians, because as the Muslims organized and now supported by the oil money flowing out of Saudi Arabia and all the Muslim countries, they wanted to basically use Lebanon as a base from which to fight Israel, kill the Jews and drive them into the sea, using Lebanese democracy and Lebanese open-mindedness and tolerance to do exactly that. And that's really when my world turned upside down and it changed. Lebanon was so multi-faith and multicultural. So we had Druze, Muslims, Christians, Protestant. The majority were Christians. We were over almost 70% Christians when we got our independence in the 40s. But because of the way Muslims multiply, with the multiple wives and multiple kids, in 30 years, they became the majority. And when we got our independence from France and Lebanon, because we are, Judeo-Christians, come from Judeo-Christian culture, we're very fair. So we made sure we divided the government to make sure that Muslims have representation. So the president of the country was Christian, the prime minister was a Muslim, the prime minister, the secretary of state. We had different assignments for different religions. But the Muslims became the majority. And once they became the majority, they were no longer tolerant of the people who took them in and accepted them and included them in the country. They felt they were not a part of the country. They felt they were a part of the Islamic Ummah or the Islamic nation. So when they turned against their brethren Christians who lived in the same country, and Jews, but specifically the Christians, they began massacring us in large numbers, because they thought we are in power now and therefore we set the rules on how things should be. And that's really what drove the country into war. We had the problem controlled when it was only the Christians in Lebanon and the Muslims in Lebanon. But what aggravated the situation was the influx of the Palestinians out of Jordan, who came to Lebanon. And Lebanon was the only country who took them in, because we were the only country that accepted the third wave of Palestinian refugees, while the Muslim countries did not want them. And that's what really changed the situation. That's what tipped the scale.
Yeah. It's good to know that history. They're into conquering. They are not into being civil. Now I'm going to play this next video, which I actually played an accident starting, right? With Tucker Carlson interviewing someone who is a Christian living in a Muslim country and really getting his take.
What's it like to be a Christian in an overwhelmingly Muslim country here?
Well, Christians here in Jordan have always felt, really one and the same with the Muslims in Jordan. And it goes back thousands of years, really, Tucker. So it's always felt like we're really one and the same. Islam is very much an integral part of our culture as Christians here. Yeah, we feel very comfortable.
As Christians here?
As Christians, absolutely. The faith traditions are so similar. It's remarkable. I mean, if you look at the Quran, for example, the Quran is Jesus was mentioned 25 plus times in the Quran. And he was mentioned under different words, different names. Virgin Mary, right? I mean, she was mentioned 30 plus times in the Quran. She's revered, right? Actually, she was the only woman whose name was actually mentioned in the Quran. No other name of a woman has been. I mean, there was...
Really?
Absolutely. Maryam's is the only name that's named by name in the Quran as a woman.
As the mother of Jesus.
As the mother of Jesus. There is a whole chapter in the Quran just dedicated for the Virgin Mary.
We have been taught for 25 years, since 9/11, that Islam is inherently hostile to Christianity, but you don't believe that.
I totally disagree with that. I think hostility is, is a human thing.
Yes.
You find humans on all sides of the spectrum that are, compassionate or hostile. That's a common thing across humanity, across the world. But to demonize one religion, to say everyone in that religion is hostile, is an atrocity, Tucker. It's absolutely not true.
I agree with that. Did you experience discrimination growing up here as a Christian?
Never. I've never felt discriminated against as a Christian. So Christians are very well represented here, as you can imagine. They're really part of the social fabric of the economy and the political environment. So Christians are represented, in the Senate, in Parliament, in government, in the military, in the private sector, even though we are a minority. So Christians and Muslims here have the same rights. I think 1,000 years ago, since Salahuddin or Saladin, right?
Yeah.
The keys to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, did not belong to any of the Christian denominations because they couldn't agree amongst themselves, right? And actually that key was handed to, at the time, Salahuddin. And even today, those keys are handed to a Muslim family. It's, I think, the Nsebe family of Jerusalem. They open the church in the morning, and they close the church at night.
Now that's a lot different from what Brigitte shared, right? In my opinion, completely different. What she was saying, she was like, yeah, when the Muslims became the majority, they just killed off the Christians. But I think there's a difference between those in Islam that practice Islam and those in Islam that practice Sharia law, two totally different sects. Just like, you have Christians that do practice, in my opinion, a very cult-like practice of Christianity. And then there are people that are disciples that live their life according to the Bible without the cult part. So there's going to be extremes in most religions. And again, my problem with the Islamic religion that practice Sharia law, their stuff is like, we need to take everybody else out. I don't think Muslims are inherently bad that practice Islam. It's the ones that practice Sharia law. It's that group, whatever that group is under Islam, in my opinion, pretending to be peaceful, they're not peaceful, and it's shown by what they do, who they are. It is what it is. So the next video I wanted to get into was this one from PBD talking about the Muslim
Why are
culture.
more Muslims moving to Christian nations and not Christian nations moving to Muslim nations? Why do you think that is?
It's economics, pure economics. If you look at Christians that move to Saudi and the Gulf, there's a huge influx of Christians from the Philippines, from Africa, from Eastern Europe that flock to the Gulf countries, Muslim countries. Why? Because of GDP, because of the economy. The influx of people of all religions and cultures to the US, to Australia, to Europe, it's purely because of economic opportunity, not because of there's some kind of better way of life. The way of life in the US, and I can talk to you because you lived 10 years in Iran, the culture of traditional societies, especially Muslim societies, is much more conducive to family. It's more of a family community-based life as opposed to an individualistic rat race, everyone is out for himself type of lifestyle that you live in the West. And that's because of the hegemony that we're talking about, because of liberal secularism, because of this pursuit of happiness at the expense of all.
Yeah. Now, see, this person may be a Muslim that doesn't practice Sharia law. But the problem is the ones that do end up with, the disaster that they had in Lebanon. The question is, are we willing to put our country at risk to find out? I think that's the bigger question that nobody's really asking or answering. Because I don't want to find out. If I see your people talking about Sharia law, y'all got to go. Everybody's got to go. Your whole clan. You have to go to a Muslim country that you align with. You can't come over here. We can't do business with you. You're gone. We need to cut it off right now because you're not going to damage and turn this into a dust bowl like over there. You can go over there. You can do all you want to. But that's like I said, that's where I'm at with it. Some people can't be over here, and that's okay. Now, let me see. I got enough time. I got enough time for my last video. Let's check this out. Mandani, some things got leaked, y'all. Well, we'll see what happens.
Nahl 1642 tells us, "As for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world."
The problem that we are having right now is we are importing people who are telling us, quite literally telling us, that they are here to take over, not to fold into the fabric of America, not to be part of the melting pot of America, not to thank God, to get on their knees and thank God they live in the freest place in the world. They are coming here to tell us that they will use our system against us until they are ruling. But don't take my word for it. Here is an imam, an Islamic imam, in Texas. Brandon Gill is a representative in Texas. Well, you tell me what you would do if this guy's in Texas. What should Texas do?
The election of somebody like Mamdani, it is a game changer. We need somebody like Mamdani to be the mayor of New York. And that is a victory for the ummah. I'm jumping the gun here, but this is one of the narrow-minded I need to break here. And the guy tried not once, not twice, 8 times to shut our project down. I don't want to go into all the details because of time. He failed miserably at every single level, and the project is still going full steam ahead. Our biggest weakness is our percentage in this country. We are very disadvantaged. By the way, this is only in this country. Sweden, 10% Muslim. Oslo, Norway, 10% Muslim. Oslo, of all places. Vienna, the Ottoman Turks tried 200 years, they couldn't do anything. Vienna is 10% Muslim, mashallah, tabarakallah. 10% Muslim. England, London, it is estimated 20%.
So what do? They're telling us this guy is supposedly an American running a mosque. I don't know what sort of religious values people are learning from this guy, but he's telling you, oh, we will take over like we've taken over in these other places. He's very proud that Sweden is less Swedish. He's very proud that London is now 20% Muslim. And as I keep saying, Buckingham Palace will be run by jihadists in 20 years. Do you want that in America? And what are we supposed to do, right? Like, we have the First Amendment, and you have right to conscience, and you have right to assembly. Mm-hmm. We have these things, and our freedoms are now being used against us, and it's being ushered in via illegal immigration, via the education system that's teaching us that we're fundamentally bad, and these people who are just saying, we're just gonna outbreed them, and we are gonna win. And they're kind of right. Now, he's very proud about Zoran Mandami, who has only been mayor for a little over a month at this point, and it is getting worse by the moment. I'm gonna blow your mind in just a second. We're gonna first show you Mamdani, this is just over the last couple of days, talking about how he will continue to fight ICE, and watch him quoting the Quran and suddenly speaking in Arabic, which I don't remember him doing that much of when he was running, but okay.
We will make it clear once again that ICE will not be able to enter New York City property without a judicial warrant. That means our schools, our shelters, and our hospitals. That means we will protect New Yorkers' private data from being unlawfully accessed by the federal government and stand firmly against any...
Now, I find that hilarious, because the minute you use a federal cent, They can deny the funding, number one. Number two, we can't go to court. If you want to go to court over this, trust. Let's go. Because the American people will back every moment of it to get all of your personal data that you signed up with. Like I said, just get the driver's licenses. And you will be able to deport millions of people immediately. Just saying.
The effort to intrude on our privacy. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, "As for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world." Or as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers."
I seriously could barf listening to this as someone that spent most of my formative years in New York City and was there for 9/11 and everything else. He is there to Islamize the city and destroy the city. They ushering it in with communism, sold with a smile, and you can see what he's actually ushering in. Now you might say, Dave, this is just over the top, and so what? So what? He's mentioning the Quran and he swore in on the Quran and everything else. The Quran, which by the way means to submit. So is he submitting to the Constitution of the United States or is he submitting to the will of Allah? You tell me. But all right, he told an interesting story about Mecca and Medina right there. Benjamin Weingarten, who works at the Federalist, he wrote this to clean it up a little bit. And you tell me what's going on here. Mamdani invokes the Hijra to justify his open borders policy. The Hijra literally refers to the journey of Muhammad and his followers from Mecca to Medina. That's what Mamdani was saying. At Mecca, they were unsuccessful in their efforts to peacefully Islamize via dawah. When they got to Medina, they transitioned to violent jihad to forcibly convert non-believers, and just years later, Muhammad's army would conquer Mecca. Screenshot herein shows how one Islamic scholar describes it. Meanwhile, Hijra is understood today as a form of jihad by immigration that leads to Islamization of non-Islamic lands, including through refugee resettlement. I believe this might be the most perfect example of telling us the quiet part out loud. They are here to destroy America. They are going to destroy New York City. I see no way that they stop him at this point. And guess what, Texas, you got a huge problem. And by the way, we have problems with these mosques in Florida too. What are we going to
Michigan. Look, Michigan. Don't leave Michigan out. Okay? Because they came in and look, this is a problem. Yes, we do have freedom of religion in this country. What we do not have is a theocracy. And I think that is the part that nobody's talking about. See, these individuals that practice Islam and they're like, well, you're anti-Muslim. I was like, okay, first of all, why are you living to the point of being a Muslim as if that is your citizenship status? It's not. Because I don't care if you're a Muslim or not. Guess what? I'm still going to have to work with you because here in this country, we have freedom of religion, right? So that means a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, an atheist, even somebody that worships and is a Luciferian can work together under the Constitution if that's what they're upholding for the freedom of the people. But you have people within Islam that they carry being a Muslim almost as a political position. Because see, those other countries that are like Muslim countries, like we have a Christian country, but we're not a theocracy. We have freedom of religion. When you're over there in certain Muslim countries, not the one that the gentleman said that he was living peaceably as a Christian, but other Muslim countries, they live as a theocracy. That is the religion. You will be a Muslim under this form of Islam. That's a theocracy. And that is what they're trying to bring here. And nobody wants to talk about that. But I'm going to talk about that because they don't want freedom of religion here. They want to bring in their form of religion and use it in a political position. That's a theocracy. Stop it. Stop. You got to go. And that's where I call you got to go. Not that it's treason, because it isn't treason. It's not being an insurrectionist. You do not align with our Constitution because, again, there are some that practice Sharia law. You don't align with us, so you got to go. Point blank, period. Immigration law needs to change, especially when it comes to people that have a they want to practice a theocracy, right? They want to literally make their religion the political standing. Now, granted, some people try to do that with Christianity as well, and it shouldn't be done. Trust me. Someone in my party was like, it's redemption, it's about Christianity. I was like, first of all, no, it's not. The USA Redemption Party, we are based on fiscal responsibility, limiting federal government to empower local government, one community at a time. We are not a theocracy as a party. We are a movement to be there for candidates that want to be servants of the people, that actually want to put better policies in place or remove policies that are burdening people, to make sure and ensure that citizens across this country are taken care of, period. It is not about party first, and because both parties do this, Democrats and Republicans, right? And when I do sometimes see Republicans, pushing edging too far, I'm like, we still have freedom of religion in this country. Under God, I'm okay with. But I cannot force how I practice my religion on other people, because I don't want them doing that to me. And that's what we always have to make sure that we have a clear line on. But for some that practice under Islam, their motivation is, you do it our way or the highway, or we'll just get rid of you. You heard what that woman said. They came into Lebanon and they just killed off the Christians. Oh, we already know y'all are not going to align with us, so we're just going to wipe you out. And isn't Lebanon like a dust bowl now? What's going on over there? Is everything going on over there like it used to be in the 70s? Is it nice? Is it built up? Y'all got anything going on, or is it just a dust bowl where nothing's going on and nobody wants to be there? It's interesting because, the other gentleman, he was like, there's Muslim countries that are making money. You got to show me these Muslim countries that are making money. Maybe they're in the Arab countries. Maybe that's what he's talking about. But for the most part, when I see most, Muslim countries and the women with burqas, not hijabs, burqas, some of them with hijabs, the women are definitely suppressed. They don't have a voice. They can't have one. But then those same women, they will come over here and try to tell everybody else what to do. We got a couple of them in Congress. It's sad. They need to go back home. You need to go back home. Why don't you go home to your country and do that over there? And be in position over there instead of being in position over here. And the fraud is definitely coming out. And it's going to come out on everybody. Side issue. But again, we need to make sure we are truly vetting people that are coming here to our country. And I don't think we are. I don't think they fell asleep at the wheel. This has been a long time coming. Long time coming. And it's been set up by the powers that be. Because they're not Christians. A lot of them. They are Satan worshipers. They do worship Baphomet. They are Luciferians. Posing as Christians, but they're Luciferians. Let's just be clear. Yeah. So that will do it for Tell It All Tuesday. Thank you guys for joining me on the broadcast. We will be back tomorrow for Women in Wellness Wednesday, where we will, definitely highlight some women and, make sure that we're staying in constant prayer, right? So I just want to thank everybody for joining me on today's broadcast here on Unfiltered Vision News. Again, we will be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern. Okay. So you guys have a great Wednesday. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.